Taone, Trenders here. Today's topic: laziness. You know, I've always considered myself as a pretty lazy person, and I have never refused to learn new ways to simplify day-to-day tasks. So the concept of this new AI that can generate a workflow for a task and then actually execute each of those subtasks immediately struck me. And apparently, given that an incredible number of articles came out about this piece of software, and also since their YouTube channel got 20,000 subscribers with one single video, I can guess I'm not the only one who got excited by it. So if you give me some minutes of your time, I'll make sure to get you excited as well. So let's immediately address the elephant in the room. This is not a new AI. Someone on Twitter managed to jailbreak it and found out that it works with a couple of pre-existing pieces of software, among which Claude Sonnet, which is a large language model just like ChatGPT or DeepSeek, and 29 different tools. Some of the tools have been fine-tuned, and the co-founder of Manus promised to make those versions of the softwares open source. However, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that the tasks are being processed in a competent way by a powerful AI, and it's also very helpful to have so many tools working together, as it provides many more possibilities and capabilities. In fact, unlike ChatGPT, which is a large language model, Manus AI is a full-on agent able to turn thoughts into actions. Its name derives from the Latin mens et manus, which translates to mind and hand, and it's the foundation of the way Manus works. This AI works by understanding the input provided by the user and the task at hand, creating an action plan with a step-by-step guide for itself to achieve the desired outcome. Finally, it executes the tasks one by one, just like any of us would. In short, it is a tool that not only helps us automate and find better and more efficient workflows for completing simple tasks, but does all of that autonomously. So, whatever the idea we have, this software is meant to be the hand, the manus, that turns that idea into the best solution possible. So, how does it do it? Well, there are many examples in Manus' website. For instance, in one case, the AI is tasked with planning a trip to Japan for two people. It's given the dates, a list of places to consider visiting, and it's even asked some good locations for a marriage proposal. After thinking for a bit, this AI begins scouring the internet on its own, working on its own computer, because yes, this AI has got its own computer to work on. Doesn't that sentence sound a bit odd to you? Anyway, it's able to search the internet, compile all the information it gathers, as well as keeping a checklist of things to research on markdown files, and even generate code on its own if needed. Once it's done, it gives to the user all the files it generated along with a visualization of the answer, most of the times in plain text unless the user specified something different. So in this case, it provided an HTML file containing a detailed plan for the whole week, including customs to pay attention to, as well as places to propose in basically every single day. All the processing occurs within what is known as a sandbox, a controlled environment inside a computer, meaning that whatever is being run by Manus will not affect the rest of the PC. If it needs to search the internet, it uses another tool called BrowserUse, and everything it does on the internet is logged for the user to review in case there was any privacy concern. Speaking of privacy, it hasn't been that long since the Chinese AI DeepSeek was under the spotlight, and let's not forget its serious privacy problems, especially considering that it never denied sharing user data from its servers with the Chinese government. So what about Manus? Well, Manus' parent company called Butterfly Effect is based in Singapore, although the team behind the AI is based in China, and the other AI by the same company, called Monica, is often related to as Chinese. So technically there could be some data sharing with the government, but the same already happens with other companies like TikTok, so it's far from the worst case we've ever seen. Some people have pointed out that a portion of the code is obfuscated, although this was quickly clarified by the co-founder, who immediately explained that the code in the sandbox is only meant to facilitate the interactions between the various pieces of software. Moreover, if anybody wanted to access it, they still can, via a dedicated button in the interface. Finally, the fact that most of its tools will become open source should give some reassurance, because if anybody wanted to collect data, doing so in plain sight would be like shooting themselves in the foot. It's not a guarantee, of course, but it should at least be a small green flag. Alright, let's talk numbers now. Manus claims to have achieved the best performance among general AI assistants. Although the AI is currently in closed beta, meaning only a few people are able to test its functionalities, we still have some results from the Gaia benchmark conducted by the company itself. For those who don't know, the Gaia benchmark, which stands for General AI Assistance Benchmark, is a test consisting of 466 questions done to evaluate the capabilities of an AI in real-world scenarios like reading, input processing, web browsing, and so on. Compared to OpenAI's deep research engine, which is able to research the internet and create detailed reports on various topics, in these tests, Manus AI was able to outperform it on every single level of difficulty. There are 3 levels of difficulty in the Gaia benchmark, and on the first level, Manus was able to get an 86.5% of the total score compared to OpenAI's 74.3. On the second level instead, the results were pretty similar between the models with around 70% for each. On the third level, however, we see another big difference, with Manus beating deep research by over 10%. So it seems that, so far, Manus has become the new big AI to beat in this field. Keep in mind though that Manus has not built a large language model from scratch, but instead is using other pre-existing technologies made by other companies, whereas Deep Research is using a modified version of OpenAI's O3 model. The one question that arises after hearing about Manus is this AI going to be revolutionary just like DeepSeek was just more than a month ago? Personally, I don't think so. DeepSeek has been key in making people understand that there can be a more efficient, as well as energy efficient, way to train a large language model. And ever since its model R1 came out, OpenAI also introduced its reasoning models for everyone, not just its paid users. Manus, on the other hand, is nothing technically new. I mean, yes, it's able to make 30 different tools and large language models talk to each other seamlessly without the need for user input, and at the same time deliver detailed reports and results following instructions pretty well. But compared to DeepSeek, these guys haven't created an artificial intelligence from scratch. They use modified versions of pre-existing large language models. However, if we can accept the results they shared as completely and undeniably true, those numbers are impressive, especially considering that their team ranges from 50 to 200 people, and yet managed to beat a company like OpenAI. So instead of saying that it's a completely new AI, I'd much rather say that it's a great tool for autonomous task execution, especially since there aren't many like it at the moment. The only thing left to know is whether it will actually be adopted as a tool, or if all the hype it managed to gain during these weeks will be lost due to the fact that it's still a closed beta. I mean, I've also signed up to test it out myself and give you an honest, in-depth review after some testing, but they still haven't replied to my email, so... Let me know if you want an update video to see some hands-on testing with Manus, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!